Good afternoon. So I'll let you guys hop on here if you guys can see this, hear this. Please let me know. Um, I'm trying to wrap my mind around what I want to say. I'm pretty hot mad, and just another step in this process. And from what I saw today, I saw ignorance, I saw lies, I saw you know anecdotal evidence of how one thing will make this better for Oregon, yet there's no actual proof of that. And so, this is something that it's hey Larry, thanks for tuning in, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Um, this is kind of where we're at. 243 is marching on. It's out of the Senate now. And hey Eric, and so this thing is going to the House. It's got the first reading is scheduled for tomorrow, 5:30, and they are hell bent on passing this, and they're gonna do it, and they're gonna lie, and there's nothing that we can do about it. Okay, we've fought a valiant fight at this point. We've done our part. We've emailed, we've called, we've been up there to testify on this bill. We submitted testimony 3 or 4 different times, and so there's some things that we've done our part, and some, I don't want to get too much in the defeat. I don't have a defeatist attitude. I'm just really kind of frustrated. I'm frustrated the way this whole thing has morphed into something that it's not. And the public is being sold a fake bill of goods, and all it's meant to do is punish us, the law-abiding citizen. It's going to do nothing to stop crime. It's going to potentially make us criminals, okay, because of something, an accessory that we have bought in good faith because we legally can under state and federal law. And so it's just they lie. They're liars. Every single one of them that got up there. Floyd Prozansky got up there and lied. He lied that said that he's going to give back to control to the local level. This is the greatest thing for the state, is to make it harder for us to be able to protect ourselves and families when we're in public, with criminal penalties. They said that this rapid fire device is a real problem in the state of Oregon. Show me the proof. How many crimes have been committed with these devices that they say are so prevalent? It's all a lie. Lisa Reynolds, she's a liar. She lies for a living. That's what she does. She wears a red shirt when she's off duty, and so we're supposed to trust them. All of their lap dogs were in the stands, where all of us were. We were at home, or we were at work. We were. They've taken take from us, and they continue to do so. And they're talking. Boardman said this was about suicide prevention. Okay, so I don't know how. I don't even know the correlation here when it comes to suicide prevention by banning places, sensitive places for us to carry a gun. I don't know what that has to do with anything with when suicide prevention. And this thing is a total farce. It's a total scam. And this is something that I'm not sure what the next steps look like for us, to be honest with you. I'm speaking kind of emotionally. I'm kind of passionate right now just because I feel that this was just another bad move by the state of Oregon. And it's somebody that doesn't. It's written by people that don't understand the process. They don't know what we go through. They don't know. They don't understand basic. A bump fire or a rapid fire activator is not a machine gun. The gun is still firing in in a semi-automatic fashion. It's just firing at a different rate of fire. Okay, somebody that is trained, somebody that is good with a gun, a good quality trigger, can fire just as fast. Most of us we're not firing. Because the ammo costs. Like yeah, it's fun to go out and do a mag dump whatever every once in a while, but it's not something that it's really that necessary for us. And so I think that this whole thing, but we have to look at the big picture. Let's look at the big picture. Let's back up a little bit to Senate Bill 243, the way it was originally proposed. Okay, This was four bills that was put together into one, and that's when they could say it was about suicide prevention, right? They did have the 72-hour hold. That was taken out. Okay, that was taken out a couple weeks ago. And then they also had the ban on adults from 18 to 20 from owning rifles. Okay, so that was taken out as well. And so now then it's morphed into what it is today. So it's a preemption law, which basically makes it harder for us to carry guns in public because we got to know, where we're at in public and what their policies are. It also sets up policies in different municipalities that they can kind of create their own patchwork of laws. And so now it's all of us, right? We have to be more active at a local level. We got to be watching. They said it was about, places where um, like local politics is hold this like this. I don't believe that at all. I don't. I think they say one thing to get people to buy into this bullshit. And excuse my language, but that's what it is. It's complete garbage. And what they do is they set the hook, and then they kind of morph it as it keeps going. Okay, so they lie. It's all a lie. Boardman, like this bill, the ban on rapid fire devices, the ban on basically public carry, and what they're doing is they're putting us in a position where that Oregon CHL that we pay $115 to get the permit permit to carry, right? We go through the background check, we go through the training, and we pay the $115. So now they make it harder for us to carry. Like, it's less valuable to us as gun owners, right? Obviously we want to follow the law, but like, where's the value for our dollar, right? The value is like when you make it harder for us, and now we're going to be investing in other forms of secure storage. So because if we're in a place where we can't carry the gun, now we have to secure it inside of our vehicle. That's it's just, when is enough? When are we going to actually do what needs to be done and focus on actually bad people doing bad things? Okay, you and I are not the problem here. And I know this kind of seems like a rant, but I apologize for that. But it's just, I don't know what else to do. So this thing was not, it was not done in good faith. It was too big. It was too bloated. There was too many moving parts. They did cut out the parts that they knew were going to give them a hard time, and that's because of the funding. Okay, and so that's something that we should be aware of. So our next move is this thing goes to the House for the first reading tomorrow. They're going to try to move this thing really quickly. As we sign dying is coming, and so they're going to have to move these bills. Okay, and yeah, exactly, Chris. They don't have the information. Like the post that you made, I appreciate that. I got an email from that same lady, Jess Marks. Okay, she is literally not my favorite person in the world. And that's being nice. She's already talking about um my mind slipped. Sorry, I apologize for that. I'm fried. Uh, so it's all in a long week. But she's talking about how this is a major step forward for the safety of Oregonians and yada yada yada. And they have this nice little banner of all these shills that have supported these politicians that are so courageous. They're so courageous in lying to you, the Oregon gun owner. Yet there's no data. Like she said that the rapid fire devices are popping up in multiple crime scenes. Like where? Like where's the data? Like you just making these up, and yeah, 100%, Pat, 100%. And then there's going to be criminal penalties for us there if our gun is stolen and it's used in the commission of a crime because we are disarmed. There is a civil and criminal penalty for that. Okay, it's already part of the law, and so that's another thing where we have to be. It is what it is. Um, so we're looking next week. Next week, this thing could get a vote and it could go to, the good thing about what we have going for us is I was under the impression that this was supposed to go to a committee and actually it's probably going to go to the floor for the first reading, and then it'll probably get referred to a committee, and that's when we're going to get another crack at it. We're going to be able to submit testimony. We're going to be able to testify as well. So that's kind of the best thing that we have going for us is we're going to get another bite at this apple. And I feel that, the testimony was so overwhelming in opposition. Like it's like literally 5 to 8 to 1. I mean, I don't remember the exact numbers, but I mean, we smoked them every step of the way. And so I think, this is something where just we're gonna have to go through it again. I know it's the last thing that we want to do is do this again, but I feel that if we do it, we're gonna get better at it. I'm hoping that it'll make a difference, but we just gotta stay in the fight, until this thing ends, this session ends, So yeah, I'm looking for people if they can be up there next week. Let's figure it out, and figure out what that looks like, and just know that I mean it's going to probably be multiple trips up there. It's going to be multiple. I mean, there's going to be multiple hearings. I was kind of and Absolutely, Chris. They're gonna move. They're gonna move really, really fast, and that's where you guys. The best thing we can do is sign up for those email alerts. If you're not already on done that, go to OLIS, and then what you'll do is you up there in the search bar, you'll put in Senate Bill 243. As soon as it pops up in the upper right corner there, there'll be a way for you to sign up for email alerts. I already got an email alert saying that it's moving. I've already gotten other emails. I watched it, and so that's a good way to stay up to date with what's happening, and that way we can keep it in front of us. I'm looking at 3075, no movement. Looking at 3076, no movement. 947, no movement. 1015, no movement. And I feel, and I'm reading the tea leaves. Okay, I'm reading the tea leaves. So Jess Marks, the one, Chris, that you just shared her post into the group, right, where she's celebrating passing the Senate floor, her bill was 3076. Okay. The fact that every published publication that I've seen from her in the last week and a half has been talking about 243 tells me that 3076 is going to die. Okay. So that's, fingers crossed, both feet crossed, saying a little prayer. And so, that's where I'm confident in this that they're going to focus solely on 243 because they think they got to get one gun per bill per session. They have to, and so I'm not a huge fan of this. You know, it just is what it is. So yeah, vote by mail, 100%. You um, I feel that we're getting close. I think people are waking up. I feel with what we're going through with the budget, and I feel like with what the governor's office has done, I feel that people are coming around, and we might be able to pick up people in the middle. Obviously, some topics we're not going to pick them up, but I feel that we need candidates that can win. With this, like Prozansky saying that he's been in there since 1995. Like he's been in there 30 years, okay? And he's never done anything really positive for gun rights in Oregon. He's been nothing but continue to take. And so it's frustrating. But you guys, like we gotta let's for a second focus on some of the positives that we did. Okay. So some of the positives that we did is we had people civically engaged. We had people that were writing testimonies. A lot of times it was their first time writing testimony. We had people that were giving testimony either online or in person, some their first time. So there was people that were coming alive. There were people that were waking up. They were becoming part of the process. And so that's huge. And we just have to continue to build upon that. And, obviously a few things that we lack are maybe organizational things here in Oregon. So that's where we gotta maybe stick and stick together, right? And just to understand that it's a complex topic, it's a complex issue, but we're in this together, right? And we're only going to do as good as our neighbors next to us, right? And so that's where it's easy to get hung up on all the negatives from today, but we should also be looking at we get another shot. The numbers are better in the House, okay, and so that's where we had remember this, okay? So this is something that I want to focus on is we have Rep Paul Evans, okay? He's on the House. He is a Democrat and he was in opposition. He's still in opposition to this bill, okay? So that's a good thing that's one vote for us, okay? There's a couple others that we've identified up there that are soft on this bill. So, I mean, it's going to come down to us, doing our job and engaging with them and, being professional, being polite, but being very firm and say, hey, this is bad. And this is why it's bad. Explain the fact that, and there's no data supporting the rapid fire devices is this such a bad issue. I think it's something that and they always cite Las Vegas, right? And that's a horrific tragedy, but it's an anomaly. It's not something that happens all the time. And so the fact that you have senators up there that are using their time to talk about something that happened in Las Vegas that was obviously many years ago, but it really hasn't happened since then, fortunately, right? Because we don't see anybody lose their lives, but it's a way for them to invoke that emotional response from their audience, right? Those people that so it's just something to be aware of. It's all optics. It really is. So hope you guys are doing well. We're gonna have a plan where we're gonna if this thing goes to the second or third vote or reading, we're gonna have to be up there. And 100%, Greg, 100%. And that's the one thing that will start a domino effect, right? And this is something where they put themselves in a really bad spot, both of them. That's why I wanted to key in on this area, is because Prozansky and Manning are very unpopular right now because of what's happening in the city of Eugene. And it's not a gun issue, right? It's a we're not funding the most basic resources like our public library or the swimming pool. And so there's a lot of people that are really upset because it's these people that have been in charge and been in power for 30 years that have led us down this path where we're at today. And so now you want to spend money on gun control, and you're admitting yourself under in the work session that this bill will not do anything. So why are we wasting the money? Why don't we use the money for other resources? Why don't we make sure that public library is funded for every day? Why don't we make sure that kids can go swimming at the pool? It's like it makes no sense to me. It's because they're beholden to those red shirts. They are dependent on those red shirts for funding. They're dependent on those red shirts for to keep them in power so they can continue to push these bills and to continue to infringe upon your rights. That's what they do. They are all in this together. I think one of my biggest victories for me personally in this session was the fact that I got it all on tape and I was able to hold it up and I was able to get it on the record, submit it as the record. And, that's something that I'm proud of because I was able to shine a light on just the bad stuff that they're doing, so, uh huh. Yeah, 100%, Jason. And I feel messaging is really important. They have to trust the messenger. And, they trust the messenger because a lot of what they're doing, though, is groupthink, though. And Jason, and I think that's what's different between us and them is there's a lot of groupthink. With us, where we like to think for ourselves, we like to research, we like to have our own opinions, right? So with this situation, they rely on other people to do the work and then they fund it, they share it, and they do all this stuff to make it seem like they're doing the right thing. They like to think they're very virtuous, and they're not very virtuous. They're not righteous. This is all astroturf, and so that's just something to think about there. And I don't want to take too. Okay, so yeah, just as I was thought. So that's kind of where we're at. Um, Phone's blowing up, so I apologize. But I want to appreciate you guys tuning in. Let's figure out what the next day or so looks like, and if we can get people up there in Salem, we cannot let those red shirts win. We have to have a show of people there, and we have to stand united. We have to, um, you know, have our voices be heard and continue to do what we need to do. Depending on what happens, I mean, we have until probably the end of June, and so that's when the Senate sign dying is going to happen, and so that's where, um, as frustrated as I am today, I'm not surprised. I knew that the Senate was definitely going to be a harder fight than the House will be, and so I'm not. I'm optimistic. Because you have Senator Reynolds. She is rabid. She is a rabid red shirt, and she's very proud of that fact. And Prozansky. I mean, it's really the A team on the Senate side. You have Boardman, Prozansky, you have Manning, you have Reynolds. There's some other ones, but you really have the A team, and A team of anti-gunners. And so that's where, this wasn't expected. I'm just kind of upset that it moved as quickly as it did. And I'm hoping that we can push back. And so it's just, we got to just stay up to date, stay in the process. Okay. And just know that we're doing the right thing and we're moving the right way. And we just got to just keep moving. And so, this is not over yet. We still have time. And I'm gonna start focusing on the media more and seeing what kind of rocks I can turn over there, and we'll just kind of go from there. I'll keep you guys in the loop. If we can plan for sometime next week, I don't know when it's going to be, so I'm just going to give you a heads up. Like if you guys can meet me up there in Salem, we just got to make sure that we're there and have a presence, and so you know I'm hoping that I'll know more, but they're changing the rules because of they're running out of time. So they're probably only going to give us 24-hour notice. And so we're not going to have a lot of time. So it's kind of going to be on like a will call status. As soon as I know for sure when we're going to be there, I'm going to go up there. And if you guys could join me, that'd be great. That way we can just continue to be part of this process. And so, I know it's the last thing we want to do, but we just got to keep doing it, because if we don't, I mean, we have nobody else to blame but ourselves, and that's the unfortunate thing. So I'll keep you posted. Get ready to fire up those emails, and let's hopefully this stuff just goes away. You know. Okay, Tony. Well, I mean, obviously, I would love to see you, but I can't. I'm on their schedule. It's when they're going to dictate to me when they're going to try to infringe upon our rights. So I could put in a request. I could say, hey, can you guys, if you guys are going to infringe upon our rights, can you make it on a Tuesday or Wednesday, please, for Tony? I can try. I doubt it'll work, but I can try my best. So, um, yeah, I'm using a different platform. What I need to do is put it on YouTube, and maybe that's what I'll do now is I'll download this video, save it, and then I'll put it on YouTube, and I can send you the link on YouTube so people can check it out, and just so they're aware of what's happening. This thing is it's gonna move fast, and so I'm anticipating just because of what their change is, and they're not going to admit they failed. They're not going to fail that they bit off too much that they can chew on 3076. But I feel that the one that we're going to be stuck with is going to be 243 if we get stuck with any of them. And so we just got to keep rallying. I don't think 3075 is going to go anywhere. They don't have the money or the resources, and I think that's going to be in our favor. And so that's kind of where I'm at. So I'll just yeah no. No, I know. I appreciate it. I appreciate you, Tony. We'll figure it out. We'll see you again. What I'll do, Jason, what I'll do is I'll put this. I'm gonna download this right now after I get off here. I'm gonna put it on my YouTube channel so I can send it over to you, so you can share it. And so, Mike, that's a great question. Okay, so we're talking about this thing would have to go into effect before we can block it. Okay, so we would have to face some kind of harm from this bill before we could block it. Unless we put in some like an injunction. There could be an injunction. This is something, obviously I don't know. We'll have to figure that out. Okay. There was no mention of this only being argued in Marion County, which is good. And so I would love to see it go back over to Harney County, because I know we have a judge over there that understands the Constitution and his duty to the Constitution. And so, yeah, I standing is needed. Yep. So we need standing. We need some sort of harm. And so this thing would either have to go into effect. What I think what we dealt with Measure 114 was if this was going to go into effect, there would have been catastrophic results to it. So I think that's why we were able to get the temporary restraining order the way we did. Yes, 100%. Man, and typically, so we're talking about standing, okay, or harm. Typically, what happens is somebody has to be arrested, and that's how they go through this process. And so there has to be some sort of impact to an individual, and so that's the now like who wants to sign up to be a felon? Not me, So especially over a rapid fire device, so that's the hard part. So, and I'm hoping that we can just get it to the next committee and just have a really powerful, and we have to show up. That's the thing is the other side has done a really good job stacking the deck against us, right? Where we have 5 or 10 people to testify in the first like half hour, 45 minutes, and then the rest is all of them. Okay. So we have to be better at having more people testify, because that spreads out the time. That gives them less time to have their BS talking points and their sob stories. Um, so that's something to think about. There is if we can get more people involved, that's going to be beneficial to us. So that's kind of where I'm at. So I'm gonna get off here. I'm gonna create a YouTube video for this, and that way you guys can share it outside the group. I really appreciate you guys being a part of this, and I'm sorry that I was a little heated in the beginning. I'm just so frustrated just watching the lies, because everything's a lie. Um, so that's kind of where I'm at. So you guys have a great day. I will talk to you soon. As soon as I hear more, I will let you guys know, and we're gonna keep going. So have a good day. Thank you guys.